Well, 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 well. And a well on top of that. You already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what goodness we're about to get into, and it looks like we're going on break from this chapter. Good God. I wonder what this chapter is. Let's go ahead and get started. I see you, Cohagen. I see you, Cedes. Let's begin, shall we? Yo, peoples! Qushu92 here. Welcome back to One Piece. Emu literally had a thrag moment and was bodying every single person that ran up on him. Bodied Zoro, bodied Stanzen, bodied Harudin, even cut off the fingertips of Gerd, freeing Somers, freeing Killingham, freeing Gunko, and then proceeded to make his way face to face with Loki. And the thing is, Emu just showcased so much power, so much absurd power that it's like, oh, this is when Madara Uchiha showed up at the 4th Great Ninja War and decided to body every single person. This is like Thrag floating in front of Viltrum and then proceeding to body every single person, dodging Nolan, punching him so hard he landed on a planet, and then punching him so hard on the planet that he literally left orbit and flew hundreds of miles away from the planet, still basically taking the strongest punch from Mark. This is literally Emu saying, the final boss is here, and I'm going to show you why you should have leveled up on all of those side quests first. So here we are with chapter 1181. Let's begin! Chapter 1181, God and Devil. I'm sorry. That's what we're starting this chapter name with. Where's my water? Where is my water? Because I'm gonna need it. We start the chapter. Chapter 1181, God and Devil. Reader request, Carrot singing and walking over pan sharks lined up in the sea by Michi Nakahara. And ooh. And we begin with Harold. That makes me the worst king in the history of Elbaf, so you must kill me to take the throne, Loki. This is literally picking up right after Emu was face to face with Loki, saying that, oh, so you're the one who caused all that destruction and caused all that turmoil with my own father. Okay. He died at age 144. But giants live to 300 years naturally. It wasn't his time to go yet. So I take it you're the one who manipulated and killed my father. And then Emu just looks at Loki and goes, the one who suffered the greatest setback was Mu. And Loki's already bringing Ragnir above him. You remember how Kaido brought his Kanabo above him when he was about to kill Guernica for interfering with his fight with Luffy? This is literally that moment, bringing Ragnir back. You see conquerors emanating from it. Tell me. And then the sky just starts shooting out lightning. And then Loki is still thinking about Harold. Once I'm dead, my reputation means nothing to me. All that matters is Elbaf's future. Isn't that right? And we see a bolt of lightning come down. What the heck did you do to my old man? Ragnar Izuchi! And we see Ragnir's face. We see Ragnir's face in the hammer itself get charged with lightning, and Loki brings it down on Emu. Then Emu brings up this little imp, this little omen in his hand, and then launches it forward, and it basically, it impacts, but there's space in between. Like you would see from mutual Conqueror's Haki clashing with each other. And it's not like Conqueror's Haki emanating from the attacks. I mean Conqueror's Haki keeping the respective people from actually touching each other. It looks like it impacts, but there's space in between. And then the whole area just erupts in a massive shockwave. Hold on. One thing I probably should have done, because people think that I was doing this at like 1:30. My apologies to everyone for not letting you guys know ahead of time, but it just impacts and there's this big shockwave that emanates from them. And we get Lilith. We get Lilith, who's trying to grab onto Bonnie, and everyone else is trying to keep from getting swept away. Jinbei is shielding Nami. Are you kidding? He blocks that? What are those black flames? What powers do you have? And then Emu puts his hand like this, and black flames start to surge within his arm, and then his body grows. Then Emu grows to an even greater size. Emu can alter his size to be the size of an ancient giant. What? He was already large, like Whitebeard size. He wasn't fully giant size yet, but he starts to grow his body. Omen is my military might. You can turn giant? A power that lurks within all. A power that lurks within all things. And Emu grows to the size to match Loki. Mind you, I don't think he's actually the size of an ancient giant. I think he's like roughly the size, he's half Loki's size, but he's still clashing with him regardless. And Emu swings his staff, and he puts the head of an omen on it, and he just clashes with Loki again. And when Loki goes to smash Emu hops over him and points the end of his staff directly at him. Blade of Judgment, Nemesis. And he shapeshifts the end of his staff into a spear and basically impales straight through Loki's shoulder. Blade of Judgment, Nemesis. He just stabs straight through Loki. Gah! Blade of Judgment, Nemesis. Gah! It is the nature of man to crave strength. However, when power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption. And then with corruption, you see an image of Dorian Bragi that have been corrupted. Choosing servitude out of self-interest. Covenants. And then we see Harold with the covenant on his shoulder. More like a sword? Yeah, I know, it's more like a sword because you see the guards of it. So it's basically like a very long broadsword. So it's not a spear, but it's a very long sword. Blade of Judgment. But it is the nature of man to crave strength. However, when power so lusted after is too easily gained. Corruption, Dorian Bragi. Choosing servitude out of self-interest. And Emu has basically changed the end of his staff into basically a chain chomp. He done changed it. It's a chain chomp. What else can we call this? It's a chain chomp from Mario. Choosing servitude out of self-interest. And he gains wings again. Covenants. And the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals. The power of Omen. These form the Trinity. And Emu launches his chain chomp towards Loki. Of what we call domination. And the chain chomp explodes. The chain chomp explodes directly on Loki. I shall give thee the power of God to step beyond all others. And then before Emu can react, Loki is already bringing his hammer down directly towards Emu. I didn't ask! And then there's just a crackling crack sound as we cut to the outside of Elbaf. So, your power is God's domination? I think you mean a contract with the devil. And then Emu just appears right next to Loki. God? Devil? What is the difference? I don't give a crap! No one lords over me! Domination is the only true bliss in the world. Isn't that right? Oh, snap! And we get Emu remembering his confrontation with Joy Boy, because we see a panel off to the side with Emu in the distance and that same trademark smiling silhouette of Joy Boy with his straw hat on. Isn't that right? As Loki goes to swing on Emu, and then Emu, in a fit of uncharacteristic rage, screams, "Isn't that right, Joy Boy?" And he screams this out loud and also emanates Conquerors at the same time. And then it cuts to the Walrus School where Luffy's eating, and Luffy feels that hockey hit him. And then Luffy is just eating and scarfing down as much food as he can. And mind you, this is all grumbled while he's stuffing his face. More! Gotta eat more! Never felt this before! Darn, it's so heavy and harsh! What's with that guy's hockey? Can't win without a full stomach! More! More! And then, before that happens, we cut back to Loki, who actually manages to hit Emu. What's wrong? Got distracted? Then you don't respect me enough! And Loki delivers the first full hit. The first full hit to Emu, sending him flying into the distant center of Elbaf, the trunk of the tree of Elbaf. He sends him flying into the tree. And just like Doflamingo, he's embedded in the tree. And Emu is coughing. He's coughing, and we see blood going down his face. I gotta take a page here from El Dorado, where Zekel Khan is all like, "That is no god. Gods don't bleed." So, Emu's in this crater. And he's looking, as Loki has already assumed his Needhogger form. The Needhogger. And Loki is charging up a Thorheim again. And Emu just takes his hand and goes the same way he did when he created like this large omen in front of him that allowed him to basically blast Harudin. He basically takes his hands prepared to use apparently the same position to use a extra large giant omen. Thorheim! And Emu, it looks like Emu gets hit with it, but I think Emu created like this omen around him to basically shield himself, because Emu is still there. And then Emu starts smiling. And then he's just looking, going, "So thou art back." And he's smiling. And I think he's referring to the fact that Luffy is here on the scene. Mind you, we don't get the doon da 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 doon da 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 doon da da da. So either Emu is referring to Loki, or he's referring to, Joy Boy, Luffy in his Gear 5 state coming back. Oh. And that's where the chapter ends. And we end with Emu saying, "So thou art back." Mind you, it can't be Luffy. It can't be Loki, not Luffy, but it can't be Loki he's referring to because he's already seen Loki in his Needhogger state. No, he's referring to Luffy specifically. Yeah, he's referring to Luffy specifically. So thou art back, Joy Boy. It has to be Luffy he's referring to, which means Luffy probably had his fill of food in order to supercharge himself because Luffy is about to join this fight against Emu. That's the end. That's chapter 1181. God and Devil. Okay. Now, the reason why I need to apologize to anyone else who's shown up here after the fact, simply because I changed the time, because I got home early. And I changed the time, but I didn't notify everyone that I changed the time. It was kind of spur of the moment. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. So well, if you look, Emu was shocked seeing him in his dragon form. I don't think he'd be shocked because remember, a couple of chapters ago, he was literally trying to use Domi Reversi on both Loki and Luffy when he saw the both of them. So it's not like he's shocked to see the dragon form because he actually has seen it already. So he's not shocked. He's not shocked that it's like that he sees the dragon form because he has seen it already. Look at his face. If you're meaning from the fact that he's not shocked to see Needhogger. He's not shocked to see Loki in this state because he has seen him. So it's not shocked that he's never seen it before. It's more like, oh, he's in his Needhogger state. I need to go ahead and protect myself, otherwise this is going to hurt. That's the reason why he used his like supercharged omen again in order to shield himself. That's the reason why he's fine. Because you see those circle of flames around his whole body, and it looks like it was like a shield around him as the smoke clears. He basically used it as a way of shielding himself. This was a good chapter, though. Oh, we had Emu. Oh, man, so we have a break? Yes, we have a break. Actually, let me do this. Let me come back over here. Oh, we're going on break for both not only One Piece, but also Sakamoto Days as well. Is it Golden Week? Is next week Golden Week in Japan? I heard about Golden Week or something. Yeah, we got a break for both One Piece and Sakamoto Days after today's chapters. So, let's just go over this chapter again. Loki speaking to Emu. Emu saying like the one who suffered the greatest setback was me. And Loki's just thinking about all the turmoil and hurt and pain that his father went through. And then goes to try and strike Emu with Ragna Izuchi, which is a new move. Well, actually, it's not a new move. It's actually the name of him swinging his hammer, and then the electricity follows his hammer and strikes where he is. So it actually has a name. We actually have a name for that attack now. It's called Ragna Izuchi. And Emu just uses an extra large omen to basically block it. And the force of it is so concussive that it sends so many people flying in the distance. And then Emu is capable of using his Omen Flames, or the power of Omen, to basically enlarge his body so he can be giant size, so he can fight Loki. Now, mind you, like I said, I had to correct myself. He did not grow to the size of an ancient giant, but he is half Loki's size. And when this is happening, he's going on, Omen is my military might. A power that lurks within all things. And when he's right above Loki, he basically turns his black flames into like an actual weapon. It turns into a sword called Blade of Judgment, Nemesis, and stabs Loki straight through the shoulder. It is the nature of man to crave strength. However, when power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption, Domi Reversi, choosing servitude out of self-interest, covenants like the ones that was attached to Herald and attached to the Gorosei and attached to all of the Holy Knights, and the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals, the power of Omen. These form the trinity of what we call domination. So to Emu, corruption, covenants, and the power of omen form the greatness of his power that is just straight up called domination. Good thing that I heard the Discord ping and see your announcement about an early stream. Yes. If I got people showing up here late, my sincerest apologies. I should have notified everyone on the post that I got home early. It's just that I neglected to do that, and I humbly ask for your apology for that. So I put it on the Discord, but not everyone is on Discord, so I apologize if you're just coming in. Shall I give thee the power of God? Shall I give thee the power of God? Because I think I said, I shall give thee the power of God to step beyond all others. I read that incorrectly. It's shall I, not I shall. Shall I give thee the power of God to step beyond all others? And then Loki gets up and attempts to smash Emu. And Emu's fine. And Loki's all like, so your power is God's domination? I think you mean a contract with the devil. And Emu doesn't see the difference between God, devil. What is the difference? Sorry I'm late. Greetings, fellow peoples. Ozzy, you're fine. I'm sorry that I didn't send a notification telling people that I was live early. Emu is a menace? Bro, what? Who you telling? Emu is a complete menace. However, this state that Emu is in isn't completely invincible, because we see blood being drawn from him. We see blood being drawn from him because when Loki says, I don't give a crap, no one lords it over me. And Emu's just going, domination is the only true bliss in the world. And Emu starts daydreaming, just thinking about apparently talking to Joy Boy. Wouldn't it be messed up if Emu and Joy Boy were friends once? Because this doesn't look like Joy Boy is actively fighting Emu in this silhouette screen. It looks like Joy Boy is just casually talking to Emu. It would be crazy if Emu, Norona Emu, and Joy Boy had a friendly relationship. And things went because and this is just a very large assumption. It would be crazy if the reason why things at Qushu, it would be funny if Oda will make Emu to be from the same species as the Sage of Six Paths from Naruto. Being from the Otsutsuki clan. Okay. But Emu is daydreaming about talking to Joy Boy. Not fighting, but talking to Joy Boy. And while he's daydreaming and distracted, Loki is swinging his hammer. And when that happens, Emu's screaming, isn't that right, Joy Boy? And then we cut to Luffy and shouting and screaming and sending out massive waves of Conqueror's haki in all directions. And Luffy feels that haki going like, gotta eat more, never felt this before. Never felt haki this strong before. Remember, the last time he felt insurmountably powerful amounts of haki was literally Joy Boy's haki coming from Emmett back in Egghead. Now we have Emu's haki emanating, and now he's all like, I've never felt this before. It's so heavy and harsh. Hold on. Did Emu just make that comical One Piece angry face when shouting for Joy Boy? Yes! Isn't that right, Joy Boy? And Luffy's all like, never felt this before. It's so heavy and harsh. What's with that guy's hockey? Can't win without a full stomach. And Luffy's just chowing down, almost getting his body to the size when he was eating all of Cracker's biscuits back on Whole Cake Island. And remember, it was a small portion of Joy Boy's power. That's the crazy thing. I gathered as much hockey as I could to embed it in this one rope. When you need it and when the time is right, use it. Do you realize how strong your hockey has to be to not lose any of its potency in 8 centuries? Never have we ever heard of hockey being so strong that it remains strong through 800 years. 800 years! But Loki manages to land a solid hit on Emu and sends Emu flying. Now, the reason why I said that Emu is not invincible, even though this state he's in, and we're going to call it his hybrid form, his man-beast form, like the way with Kaido and the way with basically other zones as well. We see Loki hit Emu directly into the tree. Flip! Good to see you. And we see him bleeding. So while this state he's in, this man-beast state he's in, is powerful, it is not so invincible where anything that's done to him leaves absolutely no scratches whatsoever, showing that Loki is capable of actually dealing some damage to him. And like I said, he gets embedded into the tree the same way Doflamingo did after getting hit by a Leo Bazooka back in Dressrosa. Then Loki goes into his Needhogger state, and then Emu gets ready for an even stronger omen, and Loki uses Thorheim, and more than likely, like I said, Emu used his omen to shield himself, because he's still in that same spot, but you see like a circle of black flames around him, and he's smiling going, "So thou art back." More than likely referring to Luffy, because him referring to Needhogger doesn't make sense, even though he's already seen Needhogger when he was possessing Gunko's body when they first encountered. So it means that Luffy probably has a full stomach and he's ready to throw hands. So now we gotta go on break knowing that knowing that Luffy is about to show up, and we're gonna have literally a god versus a devil fight. Literally, after this break is over. So, now that the recounting is over, time to go over the summary. And then once I'm done here, I'll do Sakamoto Days, and then eat some food, record the reaction for One Piece, newest episode, and then chillin' rest of the day. Okay, there we go. Please tell me that they have it written. Yes, we do! Long summary. And I don't need to have this webpage up here, so I can go right back over to the chat so I can see you guys. Thinking back to that fateful day, Loki tells Emu that giants normally live to 300 years, but Harold was only 144, so it shouldn't have been his time to die. But hearing Emu call him his servant has made him believe that he was the one who manipulated and ultimately killed him. Emu, however, replies that he was the one who was troubled by what happened that day. Loki then prepares an attack with Ragnir called Ragnazuchi, and brings the hammer covered in lightning down onto Emu while demanding to know what exactly he did to him. Can't help but notice the difference between the new Emu and the Emu we've always known. It does seem as though this Emu talks in first person but mentions Mu as a separate individual. Yeah, you are right. Maybe Mu is how Emu says me? It's kind of weird. But that is a good point, because in the same chapter, Emu says, "Shall I give thee the power of God to step beyond all others? Shall Mu give you these powers?" So I don't know if it's like a weird verbal tick he has, because many people in this series have multiple verbal ticks. Maybe it's just like a sporadic verbal tick he has. Sometimes he'll say I, sometimes he'll say Mu, so it's interesting. It's interesting. Good catch. Good catch. But I was thinking, like, shall I? Or is it shall moo? You always say moo. So, yeah. But coming back here, called Ragne Zuchi and brings the hammer covered in lightning down onto Emu while demanding to know what exactly he did to him. In turn, Emu conjures up an omen to match Loki's attack, resulting in a massive shockwave that can be felt across Elbaf. Nah, that's something I've always thought, because before seeing Emu simply talked in third person, but it doesn't seem to be the case as of late. My thing is, with how things are not exactly going in the direction that Emu would like for them to go, I would not be surprised if the state of affairs of the world and people involved in it is causing Emu to respond and be less calm about it. Because this is all the first chapter where we see Emu have an actual outburst. It's not even like the same when he had an outburst talking to Saturn and then killed Saturn. It's not the same. It's not the same when he had an outburst speaking to Brooke. This is literally Emu screaming at the top of his lungs about Joy Boy. So I feel like, wouldn't it be crazy if, when does the chapter drop? It's already dropped. We're talking about it. We're talking about the chapter. It's already out. It's been out since, I want to say 11, but I usually don't get home until at least about 1, maybe 1:30. So we've been talking about it for the past 31. But getting back to the summary, resulting in a massive shockwave that can be felt across Elbaf. Loki is in disbelief that Emu was able to block such an attack and demands to know what his powers are. Emu, however, creates another omen, and this time he absorbs it into his body, causing him to swell and grow into a giant himself to properly match Loki, to his surprise. Emu calls Omen his military might and a power that resides in all things as he once again blocks Loki's swing. But after doing so, Emu jumps above Loki and creates a blade out of black flames from his staff, which he calls Sword of Judgment Nemesis, and impales Loki with it, causing him to fall down. Or when Zebek mentioned Davy D. Jones being the real king of the world, Emu was livid. Yeah, that's another one. We've seen vocal outbursts, but, seeing Emu's face for the first time, we see this is literally Emu having a physical vocal outburst as well. Having the trademark, I'm so angry my jaw decided to grow 3 more feet as I scream out loud. Don't ask how my jaw is staying together like this. Let me see. As Loki picks himself up. Lothar, good to see you. Emu seemed way too calm for me this chapter, even reminiscing and losing all focus mid-fight while being clobbered. The outburst even looked like Emu wasn't conscious that he wasn't conscious that he wasn't with Joy Boy back then. See, that's what I'm talking about. I said this before you showed up, Flip2. Wouldn't it be crazy if Joy Boy and Emu were actually friends, but the powers that they gained put them on opposite sides of each other? Almost like Hashirama and Madara? It would be crazy if Oda was to say, hey, actually, Emu and Joy Boy were friends in the beginning, but they became mortal enemies by the end. I'm just throwing it out there. There's probably absolutely no weight that supports this whatsoever, except for that one panel, but that one panel is not enough for my hypothesis to even be remotely close at all. But it would be funny if that was the case. So continuing, as Loki picks himself up, Emu says that it is the nature of man to crave strength, but when the power they lust after is too easily gained, it leads to corruption. To me, that flashback looks like they were in the same crew. The way I saw it was like Luffy and Usopp in Water 7, except it did not end well. Wouldn't it be funny if there was a fight between them? I think you're probably right. I think they were friends and split over ideas of how to rule. Joy Boy preferred freedom. Obviously, Emu preferred ruling with domination. And I can only guess that their friendship ended because both had a thing for... Ooh, wouldn't that be something if Lily was the deciding factor that led to the 20 kingdoms fighting against Joy Boy and all of his people? Okay, y'all really throwing some ideas out of there now. I'm not going to go too deeply into it because we'll save that for the One Piece reflections at the end of the month. But, this is definitely going to leave us something to think of as to why that panel is there and Emu's true relationship with Joy Boy over the course of this break that we got coming up. So, yeah. Let me see. Leads to corruption. When someone chooses servitude out of self-interest, it leads to covenants. And the envy of one who seeks to achieve their goal is the power of omen. Man, this month is going fast. That can't be because Lily was one of the 20 kings that went against Joy Boy. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't have Tekking's level of encyclopedia knowledge when it comes to all things One Piece. So forgive me if I actually forgot about that. Yeah, she was part of it, but she chose not to be in Marie's Joie. Huh. It's possible Lily probably didn't have much of a choice. It is entirely possible. Lily was a double agent. I mean, given how, even, here's the thing. Emu blames Lily for the separation of all the poneglyphs across the world. So, I can't say that Lily, being a part of the 20 kingdoms and then leaving, means that she was fully on Emu's side, given the fact that Emu blames her for the poneglyphs being where they are now. Everything that has gone on, everything wouldn't be the way it is if it weren't for Lily's great mistake. So Lily does indeed have a part to play here, and who knows? It could be the reason. Wait, So you want to know what just came to my mind? Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny? We can already see that Emu is a manipulative individual. Here's the thing that's come up into mind. You know how we have Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. The 20 kingdoms had to come together to bring down Joy Boy. In the ancient kingdom, it was very much implied they were not on the same side, but it was the only way for any of them to come out on top. However, why didn't Lily? But my thing is, why didn't Lily stay with the 20 kingdoms? If Lily was truly on the side of them, she probably would have integrated into the Celestial Dragons, and the Vivi that we know would be a Celestial Dragon instead of her being Vivi of Alabasta. So my thing is, as plausible as that sounds, why would Lily leave? Regret, perhaps? Over the actions that brought about the downfall of Joy Boy? And mind you, and I'm saying all of this because we have absolutely no evidence that points into what I'm saying. This is just an assumption, just a theory even, with just one panel's worth of information. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm not stating it as fact or anything. I'm just thinking that it would be wild if that was the case. It was a what-if scenario, if you will. But I'm not going to say like it's fact or anything. Let me finish reading this. Again, they were never on the same side. They needed to be together for one goal. In the same way both Rocks Pirates and Blackbeard Pirates operate. Basically, they're not together because they like each other. They're together because of mutual benefit. So you're right. You're right. But at the same time, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what part Lily played in all of this. But getting back to this, I love when we can have a debate without it getting too personal. Of course, that's the only way we can reach mutual understanding. It's not going to be all like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know nothing about One Piece. Get out of my chat. It's not like that. We chill. We chill. That's the only way meaningful conversation can come about. That's the best kinds of conversations. We may have differing opinions and different ideas, but we can all come together. The war literally flooded because of the war. It's not hard to believe someone who has a change of heart That's the only way to talk. Yep, Flip do knows. So let me get back to this because I haven't finished reading this yet. Um, as Loki picks himself up, Emu says that it's the nature of man to crave strength, but when this power they lust after is too easily gained, it leads to corruption. When someone chooses servitude out of self-interest, it leads to covenants. And the envy of one who seeks to achieve their goal is the power of omen. These three, according to Emu, are the foundation of the power of domination. All the while, he blasts Loki with another ball of black flames, which hits him point blank and causes him to falter. Emu then offers Loki with the power of a god in order to surpass all others, but Loki rejects it and brings Ragnir down onto him only for him to dodge. Heavily exhausted, Loki sat down and tells Emu that the power he claims is the strength of a god looks more like forming a pact with the devil, but Emu says there is no difference between the two. Loki then gets back up and reaffirms that no one shall be his master as he prepares to attack. But Emu interjects that domination is the only true bliss in the world, thinking back to a conversation with Joy Boy that leads to him calling out his name in anger. In the school, Luffy, shaken by Emu's haki and realizing that he can't win with an empty stomach, continues eating as much food as he can to replenish his strength and rejoin the fight. While Emu is distracted reminiscing about the past, his temporary lapse in focus allowed Loki to strike him with Ragnir and blast him into the Atom Tree, claiming he isn't respecting him enough to allow himself to be distracted. Loki then transforms into his full beast form and unleashes a Thorheim attack on Emu, who blocks it with his own powers. Emu then smiles when he sees Loki transformed, as he thinks that Nidhogger has truly returned. Okay, so I was wrong. So it's not like even though Emu saw Loki in his Nidhogger state, it is actually Emu realizing that Nidhogger truly is back. This is the power of Nidhogger that I've sought for so long. So thou art back. So it's not Luffy. Because if it was Luffy, we would have had the theme of Dun da da da, Dun da da da, Dun da da da. So I was wrong. It's not Luffy he's referring to. It actually is Loki. CDs was right. Thank you. You were right this whole time, CDs. I was the one who was wrong. So, mind you, you're right that it's Loki that Emu is referring to. However, it's not Loki going into his Nidhogger state that has him shocked, because he's seen this form before. But feeling the power of Thorheim being used against him, now he goes, yes, now Nidhogger is truly back. I wonder if Emu is actually telling us what happened between him and the 20 Kings with this Omen explanation. I mean, him going on this full tirade talking about it is the nature of man to crave strength. However, when power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption. Choosing servitude out of self-interest, covenants, and the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals, the power of omen. These form the trinity of what we call domination. Choosing servitude out of self-interest, covenants of the Gorosei and the Holy Knights. When power so lusted after is too easily gained. Basically, people who have been Domi reversied and accepting Emu as their ruler, and the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals. So yeah, more than likely, this probably wouldn't be the first time that someone has. Loki is probably not Loki, but Emu is probably speaking from experience of those who have been corrupted by the powers of the devil's fruit. Specifically, like the contracts, covenants that he's used, people getting Domi reversied and feeling that great power. Just anyone who's had that happen to them. Wouldn't be surprised if this line of thinking comes from people. What I want to know is Omen a devil fruit power or hockey related? Um, it's flames, so it is not hockey related. It is actual concussive explosive flames. And we haven't seen hockey actually be used to create elements. Not the powers of the devil's fruit specifically, just power in general, even if it's just by status. But yeah. I see what you mean, Flip too. See, I was thinking internally, like towards to power the devil's fruit specifically, but no, it's just literally he's just giving an example of how his powers work in tandem with how the nature of man works when it comes to these sort of things. You know, absolute power corrupts. When power so lusted after is too easily gained, people can get corrupted by it. Choosing servitude out of self-interest, covenants are made, binding vows are made, contracts are made. And the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals, the power of omen. Now that is not actually something that's with people, but the power of greed and the lust for power itself. That's it. These form the trinity of what we call domination. Cuz people like CEOs of businesses who are so used to seeing like a cool mill sitting in their accounts after a good payday, and they don't never want to let that go. When power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption, or people who gain positions without actually truly earning it, and instead it's just given to them, and they don't know how to behave because of it. Corruption. People choosing servitude out of self-interests, covenants, or like I said, contracts, binding vows, written agreements that, hey, I'll do this as long as I'm taken care of, I'm willing to do anything. And many people work jobs that have put them in that exact situation. I am willing to do anything in order to make sure that my needs are taken care of. Even if the job does not treat me right and kind, even if the people at my workplace do not give me the respect I deserve, my superiors don't give me the respect I deserve, I'm willing to choose servitude out of my own self-interest because that's a covenant. And the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals, the power of omen, or just the power of greed in general. So, with the quick references, Imu resumes his battle with Loki. Loki attacks Imu with Ragna Izuchi, but Imu blocks it with Omen. Imu then enlarges himself using Omen and impales Loki via Sword of Judgment Nemesis. Imu describes his powers as the one that resides in all things, and that it consists of corruption, covenant, and omen, which serves as the foundation of his power of domination. Imu offers the power of a god to Loki, to which he refused. As the two clashes again, Imu reminisces past conversation with Joy Boy, which led to him calling out his name in anger. At the school, Luffy senses Imu's powerful haki and continues eating to replenish himself. Loki struck Imu with Ragnir, launching him into the Atom Tree, then transforms into his beast form to attack him with Thorheim. Upon witnessing Loki's transformation, he smiles as he thinks that Needhogger has returned. So, if I go over here to Imu, Nerona Imu, did y'all think we would get to the point where we would not only see see Imu in his full visage? Mind you, he's in his hybrid state right now, not his normal human state, because in that silhouette with Joy Boy, he still has that very covered, very low detailed appearance of himself. You don't see horns or anything. When you gain that kind of power without putting in the work for it, it tends to corrupt you. People believe that if their hard work didn't lead to have gotten them that power, it must mean something else about them was superior than those that weren't awarded said power. That's probably what occurred with the 18 other kings and their descendants. And when you give people so much power that they lust after it, and imagine, here's the thing though, here's the interesting thing. When power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption. Who do we know who has so much power that it has literally corrupted their morality? What branch of people in the world of One Piece that we know have had so much power for so long that it has infested generations of their lineage and corrupted them to the points where even Doflamingo looks even more saintly than them, even though, mind you, Doflamingo has the mindset of a celestial dragon all the same. But literally, when power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption, literally, the celestial dragons themselves are a living byproduct of this corruption. With great power there must also come great responsibility. Unfortunately, Emu is irresponsible. Emu does not understand the concept of irresponsible because Emu just is. Whatever Emu wants to do, Emu's going to do. Whatever he wants to do, he gonna do. Because what's right, what's wrong, the rulers of the world get to decide that. And since he's the ruler of the world, he's the only one who gets to, for himself, gets to decide what's truly right, what's wrong. God, devil, what's the difference between the two? All you need to concern yourself with is that I'm willing to give you the power of a god as long as you serve me. See, I can promise you the world. Just bow down and worship me. There's a certain individual in the Bible that tried to say that to Jesus. Jesus said, like, no, you don't. No, I ain't about to do that. It's his way or the highway. See, the thing about a snake, the thing about the devil is, and I'm speaking from like a Bible standpoint, choosing servitude out of self-interest seems once again like what the 18 kings that stayed next to Emu did. Yeah. See, the thing about the devil, he'll tell you, he'll give you so much power, he'll give you the world, he'll give you anything that you desire as long as you follow him, as long as you worship him, as long as you acknowledge him as the one that you revere. But that gets you in trouble. That gets you corrupted. That starts to skew your lines of morality. That starts to skew your viewpoint. That starts to turn you away from what actually is good. Evil will be called good. Good will be called evil. It is literally that. Evil is literally telling you, I am willing to give you all of this power, immortality, insurmountable strength, the powers of a god. All you need to do is just bow down and worship me. And this is, but he won't tell you the price you have to pay. Oh yeah, the devil will tell you how to get into trouble, but he won't tell you to get out because he wants you to stay in trouble. He wants you to keep relying on him. He don't want you to have peace. He don't want you to have an understanding of what a good life is. He wants you to have an understanding of like, here's what life with me is. I'll give you everything that you want, but I'll kind of subtly leave the consequences out. See, that's the way with Emu. Sure. Yeah. You can become part of the world government. Just bow your heads. Just bow your heads. We'll give you a covenant that allows you to have even more strength. We'll even allow you to have an immortal body. Next thing you know, Harold is being controlled beyond his ability to even move his own body, being forced to say things he would never say, being forced to do things he would never do because he's been corrupted. He's been tainted by evil. That little, let me get you in the door. Come on in. It's like a reverse vampire invite. Come on in. Everything you could possibly want is in here. And then when the door shuts behind you and it locks and then you can't get out, now you're stuck. That's literally where Harold was. Holster, good to see you. So with Emu doesn't see it as this is evil because morality means absolutely nothing to me. Corruption, covenants, and the power of omen form the trinity of domination. Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I like this chapter. I'm not going to say it was a 10 out of 10. I'm not. Despite there being some fighting in here, I'm not going to say it's a 10 out of 10 chapter, but I did like it all the same. So, one thing I want to pull up with Emu. Let's go down here. Relationships, abilities, and powers. Alright, in his devil form, at the very least, Emu has shown himself to be an adept melee combatant, being capable of using his legs. What about, so we got just straight up immortality. I wonder if his envy of Joy Boy The servitude of the 19 kings out of self-interest and the power given to the 18 kings is what led to the domination of the world. I see where you're going with this one. And the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals, this one seems like it's talking about Emu and Joy Boy. Yeah, yeah, because we don't see a face or the appearance of a person when it comes to the envy to achieve one's goals. Emu was envious of, yeah, and and this is a very big theory. This is just like a wide open theory. But going off of Flip, dude, because you made me do this. Going off of Flip here, Emu was envious of Joy Boy because the 19 kings that wanted to be with Emu out of self-interest, that's just it wasn't because they wanted to do it or because they believed in Emu, but it's because it was something that could benefit them. Whereas I think with Joy Boy's side of things, it is the polar opposite of the people that follow Joy Boy. I believe that people followed Joy Boy because they wanted to. Not because they had anything to gain being around Joy Boy, but simply because they just wanted to be there for Joy Boy, genuinely, out of their own volition. They didn't need to be tempted. They didn't need to be promised any power. They decided to be with Joy Boy because they wanted to. Emu, the envy to accomplish one's goals, or see what does he say? And the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals. Emu, seeing people that wanted to follow Joy Boy, probably didn't have those sort of people in his corner. Probably had people that were only around him because it benefited them. So imagine, once again, theory. Imagine Emu gets his hands on the devil's fruit, thus giving him the power of domination, which allows him to basically put those that are with him for self-interest pretty much underneath his thrall completely. And the power that they gain corrupts them to the point where they don't want to go anywhere because the power is too good. And getting the covenants that binds themselves to Emu, imbuing them with all this power, those are the covenants. And then Emu manages to amass a big following of his own, but it's not out of people who genuinely want to be there, but of people who see the power that Emu can give them, and is willing to enter into indentured service if it means they get to have and keep that power. Joy Boy got people who's in his corner because they want to be in his corner. The same way the Grand Fleet of the Straw Hats want to be there for Luffy simply because they want to. Not because Luffy says they have to. He even said, I don't want y'all to be a fleet. They said, nah, sorry, we gonna do our own thing. And now they are in Luffy's corner. But with Emu, he didn't have people like that. Maybe Joy Boy, probably the only one who wanted to interact with him, because Joy Boy seems like the type of individual, I don't care if you're a royal, I don't care if you're from a kingdom or a different kingdom from mine. Yeah, let's be friends. He seems like that type. Mind you, theory. Take it with a grain of salt. But with Emu, no one in his corner. No one to back him up out of the goodness of their heart if there's nothing in it for them. No one to do it because they're friends with Emu, but because they do it out of self-interest. I can see the loneliness of wanting people to follow him and not for the clout they can gain from following him, kind of like famous people nowadays. You are so right. There's so many famous individuals out there in the world, so many celebrities who are surrounded by people who basically they're willing to laugh at their bad jokes. Fake laugh. Be there for them be there for them to keep up appearances, but not out of the goodness of their heart. Because where would these people be if those celebrities lost everything they ever owned? Would they still interact with them? Would they truly call them friends? Would they invite them over to their house until they get back on their feet again? Probably not. Probably not. A lot of celebrities nowadays have friends around them that are good for taking pictures with, good for having on social media for clicks and views and for, like, let me like this, and let me do this, and let me repost this, and let everyone see how good these friends are. But a lot of celebrities nowadays have friends who are only with them because of self-interest. not because of the goodness of their heart. Because if you think about it, not every single, because for the good celebrities, for the good genuine celebrities that are out there in the world today, they don't have tons of friends because they already know that they don't need them. Those types of celebrities, you really don't see them going to big outings all the time. You usually see them chilling by themselves or with their spouse or with their loved ones or whoever, and that's it. And you just see, and and then they just chilling. They go chilling with the people that they know, but it's not a giant group. The ones who are genuine people, you don't see them surrounded by an entire entourage. It's usually the ones who really go out of their way to try to make sure that people know that they're famous, or are so into the power that they have and the clout that they have and the famousness that they are steamed in, that people that surround them are only there because it mutually benefits them. Not because, oh, this is my bud, we go way back. You don't really see that around a lot of celebrities who are also surrounded by tons and tons of people. It's usually the ones who have like a close-knit group of friends that tend to be like, yeah, we got your back no matter what happens. You want to sleep on the couch? You ain't got no place to stay? Come over. We got you. You don't see many celebrities like that. Mind you, there are quite a few, but not enough. Not enough. Where the people surrounding them will treat them the same. It's literally that for Joy Boy versus Emu. And all of that is just one big theory. Joy Boy had the life that Emu wanted. That envy he spoke of was the envy of Joy Boy gathering all those people around him. And Emu didn't have that sort of flex. So I said this about another manga series, Naruto, Sasuke. This seems like that sort of dichotomy right now. With Sasuke, envious of how this so-called loser was capable of displaying power that he couldn't show. He couldn't, like the biggest example was when Naruto and Sasuke were fighting on the rooftop. Chidori in one hand, Rasengan in the other. They literally launch at each other with the intent to kill. Had it not been for Kakashi, someone would have died, and it would have been Sasuke. Sasuke launches into one water tower. He destroys, like, literally the entire opening of it. And then Naruto goes into it, and his hand is just stuck. Sasuke's scoffing at it, looking at how silly it is, and he just backflips off of a building until he goes off on his own, and he feels some water dripping, and he sees that the very spot that Naruto hit into, where it looked like Naruto barely had any water coming out of the front, Naruto then blew out the entire back of the water tower with power that even Sasuke didn't have at that time. And that was enough for Sasuke to be driven to a state where it's all like, yeah, let me go and side with the invasion of the body snatcher man to gain more power. So it's kind of like something like that. I see the dichotomy. I see the parallels between these two. One person gets praised by everyone around him despite everything that's going on. People gravitate towards him because he's just genuinely a cool person. He's free-spirited, but he's also there for his friends. The other person, envious of all this extra attention that this person is getting. At least Sasuke backstabbed Orochimaru. You're right. And then Boruto allows Orochimaru to get back into the Leaf Village as if he didn't just lead an entire invasion that led to the death of the third Hokage. We're not going to talk about Boruto. We're not going to talk about Boruto today. But that's just the many parallels I see between Emu and Joy Boy. And that's just my reasoning. So when we get the history, I'm looking at my mustache. I might need to clip this thing because I prefer to have either a beard or a soul patch, but not a full-on mustache. But when we get to the point where we find out what happened during the Void Century, when we learn what happened there, I wonder if Lily represents that one friend who follows the greedy friend until he's gone way too far. I would not be surprised if that was the case. That's the reason why I brought up the Naruto, the Naruto reference. Joy Boy is Naruto. Emu is Sasuke. Lily is Sakura. Maybe Joy Boy and Lily weren't related at all, and Lily followed and supported Imu trying to take down Joy Boy, and once they did, and she realized Imu hadn't had enough and wanted to keep her around. But in that way, that's not the Imu she grew up with and left. There's so many ways that points in that direction that Joy Boy, Lily, and Imu may have been those three friends from Naruto. Not saying that Oda is taking a page from Naruto in order to write this out. It's just that it's just the first example that comes to mind. So, because I'm not gonna try and assume to know how Oda is writing his story, but Boruto, where they nerfed Naruto and Sasuke, we ain't gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it. But well, to be honest, the Ninja Alliance used Orochimaru too. Yes, they did. Still don't make it right though. I still don't like Orochimaru. I still don't like him. I don't like him. But that's chapter 1181. We are going on break. We're going on break from this. Because Luffy still hasn't finished eating yet. I incorrectly thought that he may be showing up, and that's the reason why. So thou art truly back. I don't think Joy Boy was part of their friendship. I think he was a guy they looked towards, but I don't think Joy Boy had them in his cross sights much. It did say that Joy Boy was the first pirate, so maybe his behavior of a first pirate was like a source of inspiration for the two, but truly maybe not a friendship. So gotta remember that element about him, especially with Vegapunk explaining that Joy Boy was the first person to ever be called a pirate. So there's so many questions. There's so many questions about the Void Century that I just want to learn, like going back in time, either from Imu's past or in Joy Boy's past, and finding out about it. I would very much love to see that section of the story, but I imagine it's going to be a while. Another 10 out of 10. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty all right chapter. For me, not generally a 10 out of 10, but still good though. I believe Sakamoto Days is also on break. Yep, I addressed that earlier in the stream. Luffy will probably show up for the fight in chapter 1185. Good lord. We're also getting very, very close. We're also getting very close to 1,200 chapters. 1,200 chapters of One Piece. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen on the 1,200 chapter of One Piece? 1,200. What do you think is going to happen? It was pretty good. Nothing groundbreaking. Yeah, I thought it was very good. I got up out of my chair because of the title, and I thought like, oh no, it's going to be incredibly crazy. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty decent chapter. But that's all I got. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate every single one of you for stopping by. You could have gone anywhere else in the world, and you decided to come here. And for that, I greatly appreciate it. But we're going to be going on break for One Piece, which means all I got to worry about next week is just reacting to the newest episode. 1,200 we probably getting out of Elbaf if there's no training arc. Look, Flip, if this isn't a wake-up call for both Zoro and Sanji to up their game, if this ain't a wake-up call for them, they won't be ready. Zoro tried to go in with his strongest style and got one shot. Sanji tried to go in with Ifrijamba and got one shot. Usopp too. If Usopp does not walk out of this arc with anything new, I am going to be genuinely upset with Oda. Well, might as well just finish this whole thing now. Can't put that cap back on here. But yeah, if Usopp does not walk out of this entire arc with some sort of upgrade or improvement, or even a reawakening of his observation hockey that we haven't seen in many chapters, many volumes, and what? 3-4 whole arcs? Because after Dressrosa, it was Whole Cake Island. No, it was Zoe, then Whole Cake Island, then Wano, then Egghead. Usopp got to be the best sniper. There's no way he's ready to fight Van Augur. Not now. He's not ready. You're going to need observation hockey to fight a person who can basically teleport around an entire area with literally no limit, it seems. There's no way he's ready to fight Van Augur, who, by the way, can blow away Cracker's soldiers. That's Gear 4 Tank Man level power over a decade in real time. Ain't that something? But yeah, until reflection, yeah, and give close peace peoples and give Usopp a moment or two to shine. But yeah, let me just go ahead and close out, so that way I can get started on Sakamoto Days, and then I can do my reaction to the One Piece episode, and then relax a little bit more. Yeah, probably relax just a little bit more, because I probably am going to get back on Pragmata, and then just level up that's one thing that I want to level up, but I'm not going to touch the game's story until tomorrow. But yeah. Let me go ahead and end it here. Everyone who tuned in here, thank you. And then there's Yasab, Lucky Roo, and Ben Beckman. But yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Yeah, we're going on break. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Here I was about to try and look up more stuff about Imu's devil fruit, but we just went on a completely different tangent. It's crazy. Let me see here. Strengths and weaknesses, immortality, abyss, covenant, omen. And the whole time I was thinking, seeing Imu's different attacks, I was thinking, oh, Imu would be a nice addition to Pirate Warriors. But seeing as how the game doesn't even... It includes things from, like, Egghead and everything, but it doesn't include anything else. I'm like, I don't know how Imu's gonna fit as a playable character, because we only seen him do a couple of things. It's only a matter of time, though. It would be cool. But yeah, I'm done. Time to move on to Sakamoto Days. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even consider supporting me on Patreon and or, oh, sorry, I got distracted here. So even consider supporting me on either Patreon or membership, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples! Right, on to Sakamoto Days!